Good morning, everybody. My name is Matt McLean. I'm an assistant commissioner with the Department of Aviation's Design and Construction Division. And thanks for coming in today. We really are excited about what's coming up next in the O'Hare 21 program. Just in general, the O'Hare 21 program started in 2018. It's a huge capital improvement program for the airport at O'Hare. Consisted of about 95 pre-approved projects for mostly maintenance at Terminal 1, Terminal 2, Terminal 5. We've also had a huge extension and improvements at Terminal 5, a new parking garage, and we're getting started on some of the more terminal area plans. So that was Satellite 1, Satellite 2, Concourses, the OGT, which is the O'Hare Global Terminal, and that kind of rounds out the program for the next few years. Today we're going to talk about kind of our CMARs, CMAR. Mostly the reason why we kind of go with this procurement method is because it gives us way more flexibility. A traditional design bid build, we get a contractor, gives us a price, we're kind of stuck with it. We don't know what's in the price, we don't know we can't really negotiate the price. So with a CMR method, we get to actually interact with the subs, we get to see where prices are going over, we get to understand kind of the fluctuation in the marketplace to get to a price that's takes away some of the risk from the owner, right? We can get a guaranteed maximum price. We know how long it's going to take to get the job done, and that secures the project for us. So today I've got a few of our CMRs that we have under contract for the program from Austin Power Partners, AHCB, which is AECOM, Hunt, Clayco, and Bowa, and Turner Paschen Aviation Partners. Do you guys want to come up and do introductions real quick?
Yeah, sure. Hi, good morning. So my name is Sean Gloez. I'm the Director of Community Development for Power Construction. I've been with Power for about 7 years now. Wear a few different hats for Power, but as Director of Community Development, I oversee our workforce engagement efforts, so work with a lot of pre-apprentice partners, trying to get folks into the construction trades, working with the city colleges to try to get folks with an associates in construction management into the construction management path within Power. Also work with a lot of local high schools, trying to promote careers in construction. And then probably while you're all here, I work with small businesses that want to work with Power. And so we have a couple different programs that we have in place to engage companies that are new to us, try to get them in the pipeline and get them working with us. We'll expand on those as we go forward, but thanks for having me.
Good morning. I am Zola Stewart. I am the Director of Community and Citizenship for Turner Construction on the TPAT joint venture. I have a couple of people in the room with me, so I do want to recognize them. I have my right hand here, Patrick Jones, that manages all of our workforce outreach and our foundation work. And then I also have people from the project team. We have Chuck McCoy, who's the project executive on the project. In my role as director, I have someone else, but I'm sorry, I don't have that name. In my role as director, I oversee our workforce development, our supplier diversity initiatives, our outreach into the community on all of our projects. Just super happy to be here and answer any questions that you have for us. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Alibe. I work as a project director at Clayco, and I'm here representing the AECOM Hunt Clayco Bowa joint venture. Our team's responsible for the delivery of the new Satellite 1 Concourse and potentially the next Satellite Concourse, which we're calling S2 right now. I'm here on behalf of the JV because I'm very passionate about engaging local and small businesses. I believe that working at the airport is a great privilege. The dynamic atmosphere has been a challenge for most, but I've seen businesses big and small thrive after completing projects at O'Hare. We'll talk more about our initiatives at AHCB later on in the discussion. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so what I really wanted to accomplish today too is kind of what Alibe said, like getting everybody comfortable with the CMR method. It's not traditional how we would normally do a bid process, so some people may be like, okay, I don't really want to go out to O'Hare. It's scary, it's big, there's badging, there's all kinds of planes running around and all kind of requirements that are more than just a normal project. So I've got some questions for them to kind of start us off, but please ask any question. There's no wrong answer. We'll get you the answer if we don't have the answer. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity at O'Hare. You're not going to see billion-dollar projects too often in the city. I've been doing this for 15 years, and this is my first project with a B. So it's really great to see this for the airport and for the city. I guess off the bat, do you guys want to talk about what is your favorite project so far at O'Hare for the O'Hare 21 program, and what are you currently working on now? I don't know.
I can take that
we
one
have
if
to
you
keep
don't mind
jumping,
now.
but
So again, I represent AECOM, Hunt, Clayco, Bowa joint venture. Our teams recently started the construction of the new midfield cooling plant. So if you're aware, the new terminal plan includes the construction of 2 satellite concourses. We say satellite because those concourses are built in the middle of the airfield. So the object is to bring conditioned spaces into those buildings. So you need cooling and heating. So we're extending hydronic piping across the entire airfield to ultimately connect to a new cooling plant. It's not something I've ever seen or done ever, and the scale of it is somewhat pale when compared to the concourses, but the complexity is really challenging. So I'm really excited. Our team has really gelled, and I'm very hopeful that we deliver it for our customer, the city of Chicago.
I'll take the next. This will be easy for me. So this is my 4th year with Turner, and this is my first O'Hare project that I get to oversee in terms of the outreach and supplier diversity efforts. So the baggage handling piece of it, I'm extremely excited. One, I have a project team that really gets it. So our project executive and other members on our team have been working diligently for over a year in engaging with potential subcontractors and so forth, and really trying to create more equity for diverse businesses in an area where there's not a lot of diversity, right? And so I now have the opportunity to kind of see a lot of that work through. We have some companies that we've engaged with that are not typical in this, and so the opportunity for me to really help and create pathways where there weren't any is very exciting for me. And just a little bit of background. I've been with Turner for about 4 years, but I'm also an entrepreneur myself. So when I'm out and I'm doing this work, I'm able to communicate with businesses and understand where they are from a very real place, right? And so this work for me isn't a job. Don't tell Turner, but I would have done this for free, right? I have done it for free. I have volunteered my time and done this work. But I get up every day really wanting to make a difference and an impact. And when I looked at this job, initially I was like, okay, we've been doing this for a while. The team is great, but when they put this in front of me and then explained to me the groundwork that they laid, and asked me to reach out to a couple of companies, and when I talked to the owners, and they were so happy to get my call and say, yes, we've been communicating with them, and now I'm able to take it to the next step. It's very exciting, very exciting. So this would be my favorite.
Just to round this out, so I started with Power in September of 2018, and I was thrown feet first into our pursuit of the Terminal 5 expansion and renovation. And so That is my favorite project to date, the only project I've worked on out there to date. But it was a project that started in November of 2019. In March of 2020, we're in the throes of COVID, and it is amazing that we got through it at the pace we got through it. We were able to wrap that project up early last year. And so, $750 million project. We were able to break those packages down into bite sizes. We had hundreds of companies work on that project, over $200 million in awards to minority and women-owned companies, thousands of tradespeople. I think 15% of all hours worked done by apprentices. So a lot of people got to cut their teeth for the first time in the trades on that project. Just a lot of moving parts and pieces, an opportunity to be able to engage folks in every community across Chicagoland. It's going to be hard to beat that one going forward. Where we're at now is we are going through pre-construction for the next phase of that terminal. It'll be Terminal 5, about 60,000 square feet of new space that we add at multiple levels along the passenger drop-off pickup area that will bridge over that area and connect to the newly constructed Terminal 5 parking garage. And so right now, we actually went out to bid for that on this past Tuesday. So we're right in the thick of it. We're gonna have a Meet the Primes coming up here in a couple weeks, and excited to roll my sleeves and get dirty on that one. But has been an environment unlike any other, and an experience that has been more rewarding than any other. And just excited to see where we go.
Thanks, guys. But yeah, we'll open up to questions. I think I've given them an easy enough one on that one. So if you've got some hard questions, let's hear it. I want to put these guys to the test. I'll give them another softball. All right. What do you think are the main differences between a design bid build and a CMAR procurement?
I'll take that one. I think the biggest benefit that we can offer our client with the CMAR delivery method is constructability, schedule, and cost input through each phase of design. I think at the end of that process, ultimately everyone is fortunate to have a more constructible and lean design. So the client, when this works well, gets value, typically speed, and quality.
Perfectly said.
Any other questions out there?
What's the difference in the process for people like us?
Yeah, the difference a trade partner would see when comparing design bid build to a CMAR, I think, is the quality typically of the documents and the rate at which they might change. On a traditionally delivered project, I'll say the bid documents are typically issued at 100%, either issued for permit or issued for construction. On a CMAR design, on a CMAR delivery method, it's not uncommon for us to contract at a 60% or 75% milestone. And while we continue working with the client to refine that design, we get even more constructability with our trade partners on board. And again, giving that feedback to the customer about what really works, what details are better. Do we have a better method or sequence to construct the work?
So then it's not really a straight bid from the subs then. It is an open bid that you've selected somebody that you want to work with.
Can you
Well,
elaborate
like
on
if
that?
you don't have if it's not built, like plans aren't built, and there isn't any way to hard bid it, and you're changing it as you're going through, how are you determining who's on that project?
Yeah, I don't think that it's fair to say the plans aren't developed. They're just typically at a earlier milestone, like a 60% design development or 75% progress. And for most trade packages, that's adequate for us as CMARs to identify the lowest, most responsive bidder. And then from there, if there are subsequent changes to the design, we have the benefit of having the trade partner on board, again, to get some of that feedback from you as trade partners and deliver a more constructible design to our customer. I hope that answered your question.
And if it helps,
Yeah.
Okay.
they can't award unless we say it's okay. So we see their whole procurement package, how they did it, where the numbers came in, where they were able to meet with the subs to clarify things. So if, you missed a whole slab of concrete, they'll see your bid, say, hey, you don't have this. Can you make sure your bid's good? It gives you the ability to adjust the bid. And then, right, they level them out. So then you still have, lowest bid wins, most responsive, right? So there's more flexibility than a traditional, but that's kind of the point. Like we don't have these huge swings of, $2-3 million because somebody's way off or somebody's got it right. For us, it's on these mega billion-dollar projects. That's a little more reassurance for us as the owner.
Yeah, thank you for your question. We had another one in the back,
I was
Terry.
just gonna say, maybe it'd be helpful if one of you walk through, kind of just gave an overview of like how the work order and how that's broken into packages and like the process for releasing the packages and taking bids and that kind of stuff. That's not gonna be challenging. With that,
Yeah, I could take a stab at it, Terry. So again, with AHCB, we've been assigned the Satellite 1 Concourse, and that is its own work order. Within that work order, we've split the scope into a number of different trade packages. So it could be as disaggregated as overhead doors, tiling, flooring, roofing, etc. So each of those trade packages would be advertised to solicit bids from our trade partner community. And then from there, as CMARs, it's our responsibility to host pre-con conferences so the trade partners are able to come to the project area to see how to get to the project area, how long it takes, think about where to potentially stage materials. And then there's typically a pre-bid RFI duration where you're able to ask questions, whether they're scope related or general conditions related, etc. After that stage, then we would request bids to be submitted. And then we typically take about 2 to 3 weeks to level those bids, and that requires us to host scope review meetings. So we would actually bring you to our office location, you would sit with our teams, and we'd go through each part of the scope to ensure that we're on the same page as it relates to the bid that you've submitted. And then from there, I would then knock on one of the client's doors and say, we're ready to make a recommendation. So that subcontractor recommendation is the catalyst for the award of that trade package.
Again, well said. We're going through right now. We're going through a very similar process, right? And so we get our work order. We're breaking out the scopes into different trade packages. That process takes a while, and it's not done in a vacuum. We're having discussions with our own team. We're meeting with CDA. We're meeting with CCA officials, and so we have a lot of oversight, a lot of collaboration in forming those trade packages. All along the while, we're having pre-qualification meetings to let folks know what our process looks like, make sure we're as transparent as possible, making sure we're getting out early and often so folks are aware of the opportunities coming down the pipeline and have ample time to pre-qualify with us before those trade packages hit the street. And then, we release the packages on Tuesday. We have a pre-bid meeting coming up next week. We'll have a meet the primes after that, and we'll have a whole host of meetings in between while we're coordinating with CDA, CCA, folks that are asking questions that intend to bid the project, and probably a ton even beyond that. And so, the only thing I want to highlight that has been said a couple times is, beyond the CMAR being a transformative delivery method, we're not operating in a vacuum. There is still an awful lot of collaboration with the city, specifically with CDA and CCA officials.
I would say that our scopes are pretty much the same, however the baggage handling is a little different. And Chuck, can you walk them through the process for the baggage handling? For the baggage handling?
For the process, for the pre-qual or?
The bidding, the whole.
Yeah, we're currently breaking out our packages. So we have the main baggage handling system for the first phase broken out. And we're going to be doing a lot of outreach events for lower tiers because the main baggage handling system companies, they manufacture the equipment as well. So it's very specialized. There's only a handful in the world that can handle a project of this size. But they are all from out of town, so they need they need the outreach and our assistance to basically network for them and kind of say matchmake with lower tiers that can work under those. We also are going to be breaking out probably another 4 or 5 at least packages for this first phase. That'll be some smaller prime work that'll be regular trade packages. Like we definitely will have some smaller electric and controls and things like that, and some demolition packages and things that, so we always pick what we can break out, and then we will have the large for the manufacturer, which we need to have one of those packages. But getting those introduced to the local market is where we are going to be the biggest assistance for that. So we'll be having events, meet the primes, once we start engaging those contractors, which will be before the end of the year.
Just a couple on, I think, what all you guys said. Once the work order comes out, how's the collaboration done to decide what bid packages are established? Who makes that decision? Is it a city and CMAR decision? Our firm has bid many jobs with all you guys, and it just seems like some of the bid packages could be combined. Some of them, and I get the fact that you might want more bid packages for more opportunities. That's great, but it just seems, it just seems like that some of the work could be combined and it would be more efficient, et cetera. And I was just curious how you guys collaborate on how to break the packages out.
Yeah, that's a great question, Matt. If I could, I'll take a stab at that. I think the decision making is typically driven by value and compliance. I can speak for our team at AHCB. Because of the goals that we're required to meet, I think we are always looking to identify opportunities to maximize compliance, to engage certified firms. So while it might make sense for architectural precast to be held by structural precast, maybe there's an opportunity for the former to provide more value and participation. In some cases, I can't say too much, but there have been trade packages under our current work order number 10 that have been canceled as a result of maximizing value and participation in other places. So it is, I'll say, case-by-case scenario.
It makes it more challenging for the field operations when there's multiple contracts going on at once in a small area.
It can be.
And that is something that we see as well.
Yeah, it can be. I know our team is pretty well versed in trade coordination and building teams and thinking about logistics to make sure the work is being coordinated effectively. But that's certainly a valid question, and I'm thankful that you asked it.
Thank you.
Yes. Oh, Matt should say that.
One more, because I want to address that too. It's really project dependent as well. On Terminal 5, I know, Sean can correct me, there was multiple packages for electrical, right? There was basic electrical, there was low voltage, there was security, there's all these different packages. Gotta break it up. So you have multiple electricians out there, and that could be a good thing or a bad thing. On a smaller project, because that was $700 million, I'm on the Terminal 3 project, it's only $300 million. We have one electrical contractor, right? So we broke the packages based off trades and basically spec section. So each project has a different approach. So like Leebay's talking about, he's got $1 billion one, he's gonna have different requirements and different ways of maximizing packages than something that's a little smaller.
No, well said. It's not one size fits all. We're looking at each work order independently and seeing, trying to balance, maximizing opportunities and getting this done efficiently and effectively as possible. And so at Terminal 5, again, we had hundreds of subcontractors working out there. Some that had 3 different crews working in that space, in different parts of that space at the same time. And it does get challenging, but that ultimately falls on our shoulders to be able to manage effectively. And so, yeah, it's always a case-by-case basis, looking to maximize those opportunities, but without shooting ourselves in the foot and slowing things down to a crawl.
Would the city ever say, you know what, I don't like the way you've broken them out and I want you to do something different? Or is it?
Yeah, I mean, we review them all before they hit the street. So, if there's something that didn't work well on T5, because it was one of the first ones, we've changed it on other projects. So it's all case by case, and we review everything before they hit the street.
I would also say that sometimes it's also dependent on the availability of the contractors within the market and so forth, and what other projects they have working on, and their capacity to be able to fulfill, you know, a $200 million job or a $50 million job, you know. So I think all of that plays into consideration.
Great question.
Hey, in regards to the CMAR and the Compass pre-qualification, how important is that, or is that a must-have for subcontractors to be Compass pre-qualified for that? Or where do you guys see that?
I'll take a stab at it. So when you say subcontractors, you're referring to a prime sub submitting a proposal for a trade package, or a second tier?
Second tier, for a second tier.
Yeah, that I'm not sure about. I know we do require all of our primes to complete the Compass pre-qual. I can't say the same for anybody that's carried as a second tier. I need to check with my team just to confirm that I'm speaking intelligently about that. Yeah.
No, yeah, I can speak on behalf of Power. If you're going to bid any of this work as a prime direct to us, then you need to go through the pre-qualification process.
Right.
If your intent is to work as a second tier, that's a negotiation between you and the prime contractor. So you would not have to necessarily be pre-qualified with us.
Okay.
If you're going to
Does it help if you are pre-qualified though?
Not if you're going to bid us direct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So say the same, it's the prime pre-qualification that is pertinent to us. We don't deal in the second tier.
You want to go through that pre-qualification process a little bit too?
So we have a pre-qualification process that it's on the website for TPAT. It's pretty much the same as anything else. Your application, your insurance, your bonding, any type of certifications, licensing, and so forth. All of that is reviewed by our procurement and project team, and based off of also your financials, insurance, all of those things are looked at, and then we're able to determine basically what your capacity is to be able to provide any type of work on any of our projects. And traditionally, and I could speak for our main procurement, and I'll let Chuck weigh in on this, but they generally look at what your capacity is, and to make sure that we're not setting you up for an opportunity that you don't have the ability to fulfill. So it's really kind of looked at that way. Chuck, can you chime in?
Yeah, I mean, we sometimes call it more like a capability assessment. Really it's finding the right size project for each bidder. So when we're looking at the pre-qualification, we can only succeed if all of our trades succeed. So we need to make sure that they're not going to overextend themselves and bid a project that maybe is too large for them. So that's why we have that, and that's an open discussion during, that's a one-on-one open discussion with our procurement team to really guide you in the right opportunities, because we'll break out as much as we can, but if the job's a little bit too large, we'll have that conversation with you, and you'll understand where we're coming, and trust me, you'll appreciate it in the long run, because it really sets you up for success on your first job.
Yeah, they don't just look at what your past performance is and what you have had experience with. They also look at what do you have coming up. What's going on with you, this year, next year, looking at it throughout the life of the project that you're, considering, to make sure that you're not setting yourself up for failure, and that we all come out on top.
You brought up a good point too about insurance. I think we get a lot of questions about what are the insurance requirements, what does an owner provide insurance program? Do you want to kind of touch base on some of those as well?
So Turner has a couple of insurance options. Chuck, for O'Hare, what are we using?
So O'Hare does have an owner-controlled insurance program, so the bulk of your insurance requirements will be covered by the owner to get enrolled. unless you're excluded for a specific trade or something. And also in bonding, we typically, 90% of our projects, I want to say even 100% to date of our jobs out there at O'Hare, we provide subcontractor default insurance, so you don't have to provide a payment and performance bond to bid to us. And so that helps your bonding capacity and things like that as well.
I would say that's typical on a lot of Turner jobs, but it's not on all of them, and I just wanted to verify.
Well said. I was just going to plug our own JV website, ahcjv.com. That portal will provide access to a lot of resources that we've established to help understand some of the onboarding if you are awarded a trade package, as well as some of the packages that we currently have out to bid. So check that out when you have some time, and I'd love to chat with you after today's session if you have any other questions.
I will get a shameless plug in as well. PowerConstructionAviation.com for what is going on for this second part of Terminal 5. Our pre-qualification portal is also linked to that website. I suspect we all have very similar pre-qualification processes, but the questionnaire is posted on the website, so you can review everything that we're looking to collect before you start the process. And then it has contact information to reach out. It goes directly to me. If you hit any snags along the way, I'll make sure that you get past it. We have not had a company yet that wants to get through pre-qual with Power, that we have not gotten through that process, regardless of how new of a company or establishment company you are.
If you want one website for all of them,
Or
flychicago.com has all 3 CMARs. It's even got some of our other ones that are doing some federal work.
It's the on21.com.
That as well. You'll get there somewhere. Go
Can you
ahead.
repeat that again?
The city website?
Yeah.
It's it.
ORD21.com. Thank you. Can I just add to the point of subcontractor pre-qual? I think you each have on your websites a subcontractor interest form
That's
separate
correct.
from your pre-qual. Maybe you could explain what that is and the benefits to subcontractors in filling that out.
Yeah, that's a great point, Terry. I know on our JV website, there's a field where you can enter your company information, your certification status, if any, the trade packages you're interested or perform, and then just general like inquiries about the program. That enables you to get some updates on upcoming trade packages that we want to publish, and it's a good starting point if you've not worked with our JV or any of our JV partners in the past.
And then I would echo that as well, and also that the information that you put in there is also available to our primes if you're interested in sub-tier opportunities. So if you are interested, please complete that. We also use that to continuously send out information about outreaches, events, and so forth that's coming up. I also so O'Hare project is one of my projects, but we also have, I use it as part of my database to communicate out opportunities for whatever, right? So I love the data.
No, echo that last statement. We're beyond using it to connect folks with opportunities on projects at O'Hare. We're also tapping into those forums to reach out and get to know folks, to share them information on any project we have going on. And so that has been a great recruiting tool from us to get connected with new small businesses.
We talked a lot about construction. What professional services have you guys used on current or past projects at O'Hare as well?
I'll start off. I think there's still some opportunities for professional services. I can foresee, I was just talking to somebody about this last night, I can foresee a need maybe for some third-party testing support. So at O'Hare, under this program, the city holds their own testing resource, and then we've essentially pushed QC testing to our trade partners. But in my experience, there's usually a little more opportunity for testing, layout. I think those are the two that come to my mind when asked that question.
I will have to defer to Chuck on that one. this is gonna be my first package.
Yeah, we similarly, quality assurance, testing, surveying work. We have, also right now for the baggage handling, we're looking for laser scanning services to scan existing conditions in the building. So things like that. There's been a lot, and a lot of stuff related to just our general conditions and things related to us being out there at the airport. It's not a trade package, but we've had quite a bit of, I'm trying to think of different services, but there's other opportunities for sure.
Yeah, similar thoughts. I mean, at the Terminal 5 expansion renovation, beyond the core JV partners, Austin Commercial, Power Construction, Ujama Construction, there was another dozen professional service firms that were contracted with us to provide a variety of services. And so, obviously that was a larger project, but any of these projects are going to have opportunities for other professional service firms.
What are the certification requirements for subcontractors like WBEs, DBs? What are the qualified certifications that's required for subs?
Yeah, I can take this one. It really just depends on the requirements of each individual project. So Terminal 5 expansion renovation, sorry, I just want to be able to see. That one, we had MB, requirements, things that you would see on typical city of Chicago projects, 26% MB, 6% WB. The new Terminal 5 Part 2 is federally funded, so this has 23% DB requirements. And so for us, it really depends on the funding source of the project.
Yeah, it's one thing we didn't really see coming after COVID. We got a huge influx of federal funding. So we had set all these guys up with MWB participation, and then we had to quickly switch to a DB for federal funding. So we've got two more. Well, Sean's got two different contracts. He's got one under an MW, one under DB, and we have another federal CMAR as well. Clark O'Neill is in the middle of the T3 renovation now. That's federally funded CMR. Questions? I think I have one more. What do you think is the hardest part about working at O'Hare, and what can you do to help smaller companies kind of break into that work?
I'll take a stab at that, Matt. I think what I hear from most of our trade partners is just the logistics of the airfield. I think it's like 7,200 acres, is that correct? And so you see it on the map and it's like its own city. So I think most people are immediately kind of taken aback by that. Fortunately, there are a number of different points to access the airfield, and what our JVs tried to do, in our bid documents, we have a build book. Many of you might have seen it on Building Connected, but we've tried, and I think successfully tried, to establish a number of different staging areas so that when you submit a proposal, you have an idea of where material laydown areas are available, employee parking, staging, etc. So I think the continuation of that is when you're successfully awarded the project, our team will continue to leverage our experience in helping you navigate the airfield, as well as any other logistics for materials, employees, etc.
And then I'll echo that, but I would also add on one of the things, I've heard that feedback from the contractors, but I'm not sure that contractors take into consideration the time it will take for badging, right? So I've gone through that process myself, and so you should be prepared to spend some time through the badging process, and all, which means you and all of whoever you have working on that project. It could be a 8-hour, type of ordeal. So just take that into consideration.
Yeah, I mean, nothing super new here. O'Hare's large. It can be intimidating. I think that each of the CMARs have tried to break this down in as simplistic terms as possible. Beyond that, just another plug for ORD21.com. There are a lot of resources up there for subcontractors that have never worked at O'Hare before. all the CMARs have a learning series that we do every single year. CCA has an ongoing learning series that they do in order to talk about all types of different aspects at O'Hare. So that if you've not worked there before, you can learn an awful lot before you even step a foot on the airfield there. And so we get into badging, we get into vehicle permits, we get into material storage, everything that's been discussed on this panel. There's a lot of information on that website that dives really deep into each of those sectors and things that we've not mentioned.
Any other questions? Other than asking if the Cubs or Sox fans, pretty much out of questions. We could have wrapped this up a little early, but thank you all for coming. We're excited with this program. It's transformative. Like, to have a new O'Hare hasn't happened in a very long time. Passenger experience is at foremost for us, and we really want to make sure that everybody in Chicago gets a piece of this, gets proud of it. It's something we can all be pretty proud of at the end. So thanks for coming.